Well, thank you everybody for coming out. Good afternoon. Obviously, on behalf of the Government of Saskatchewan and Premier Scott Moe, I want to thank everybody for joining us here today. I also want to thank Eldon for having us here on his ranch. It's pretty awesome to have it out here. And I really want to appreciate everyone taking the time for being here today. There are also some people I do want to acknowledge today for being here if I can. First and foremost, I want to acknowledge my colleague Doug Steele, the MLA for Cypress Hills, for being here for this announcement. And I also want to thank Randy Stoke for being here. Randy is a board member for the Saskatchewan Cattlemen's Association. He is here representing them today also. And I also want to point out Reg Schellenberger is also here. He's a Canadian Cattlemen's Association Vice President. So thanks for coming out, Reg. I really appreciate it. Agriculture is a vital part of our rural communities and a provincial economy. We depend on Saskatchewan farmers and ranchers to sustainably produce the high quality food that we rely on. Saskatchewan's agriculture sector also plays a major role in our growth plan goals for the next decade. This is a resilient industry full of hard-working people. It is an industry that has persevered through challenges and come through stronger time and time again. However, as you know, here today we are well aware that the prolonged drought conditions this summer has taken a serious toll in the province of Saskatchewan. The challenges are mounting, with pastures and crops in many areas severely affected by the drought. Across the province, many dugouts are dry or have poor water quality due to the lack of rainfall and hot, dry conditions throughout the summer. This situation is taking its toll on individuals, families, business, and communities. Livestock producers are facing tough decisions due to the challenges this growing season has presented. That is why we are taking swift action with the announcement of an ag recovery program here today. This will include $119 million in direct support for drought-affected producers in the form of a per-head payment to help maintain breeding stock. This payment will provide cash flow to help offset the extraordinary costs producers are facing this year to access feed and water. We know the impacts of drought are felt province-wide, but each individual producer has different needs. This direct support will allow producers to make the business decisions that they need to best suit their operation. The intent of this program is to minimize herd reduction and dispersals, which would have a lasting impact on the Saskatchewan livestock industry. Ag recovery is part of the Canadian Agriculture Partnership Agreement, with funding shared on a 60-40 federal-provincial basis. We have requested the federal government to provide an additional $178 million, which would provide our producers with a total program of $297 million. Last week, the federal government committed $100 million in ag recovery support for the affected provinces. It is essential that the federal government support the Saskatchewan livestock industry by being a full partner in this program. We look forward to working with the federal government and our provincial counterparts to ensure that our producers receive the level of support they require. With the full federal participation, the per-head payment to Saskatchewan cattle producers to maintain breeding stock would be $200 per head. There will be an initial installment of $100 per head as soon as the funds can be issued. Pending federal review of our proposal, a second $100 installment would be issued later, based on the number of breeding animals still on the farm at the end of the calendar year. In addition to cattle producers, funding will be available on a sliding scale to producers of other ruminant animals to help maintain breeding stock. The Saskatchewan Crop Insurance Corporation will deliver the ag recovery program to the Saskatchewan producers. We will share additional information on how producers can apply as soon as the details are finalized. In addition to ag recovery response, we have taken a number of other concrete steps to support the livestock producers. These include the maximum rebate for livestock producers under the Farm and Ranch Water Program for dugouts, wells, and pipelines for agriculture use is temporarily increased from $50,000 to $150,000. Earlier this year, the federal and provincial agriculture ministers made changes to AgriStability to eliminate the reference margin limit. We increased the 2021 AgriStability interim benefit payment percentage from 50% to 75% here just a week or so ago. And we increased the low yield appraisal values under crop insurance to divert low yielding crops for feed use. Additionally, we welcome the federal government designation of the livestock tax deferral areas for the producers who may still have to liquidate part of their herd due to feed and water shortages. Across the province, there is need for feed and straw this winter. Producers who do have feed are encouraged to work with livestock producers who are in need of feed. I also recommended the producers consider contacting the extension specialist in any of our ministry's 10 regional offices across the province. Above all, I'd ask producers to please remember your mental health is important. The Farm Stress Line is a confidential service and is available 24/7. I want to thank you again for joining us here today. Today's announcement will provide much needed relief to maintain the breeding stock here in the province of Saskatchewan. Our government will continue to work with producers as we navigate this challenging year.